Guys, I had to make this video real quick because I was just out shopping as I do, because as you're well aware, I have an abundance of money and I like spending it on fashionable things. And somebody came up to me in the store and was like, "Oh my God, Choose Rich Nick, you're the greatest, blah, blah, blah." I mean, I appreciate the love, but they asked me a question that I think is really important to address. They said, "What's your best pick? What's your hot tip that you have, the token that I need to be buying right now that's gonna absolutely pump, that I can go make a ton of money on?" And the reality is that is generally an awful way to be thinking about things. Don't get me wrong. I bought Zcash. I've made a decent amount of money off of Zcash. I was early to Solana, not the earliest, but early enough that I've made substantial money on it. Frankly, I was early to Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these things. But most people do not realize that traders are all losers. James Wynn, a guy who has popped up on the timeline time and time again, originally because he was making hundreds of millions of dollars, ended up losing hundreds of millions of dollars. And every trader that I've ever come across has ultimately lost substantial amounts of capital. And the reason is because people think about trading as a way of generating income. And it's the least reliable way of doing it. 96% of people lose money trading. Not 50%, it's not a 50-50 game. 96% of people lose money from trading. So the best way, and this is the ultimate alpha that was based on, and this is what I told the guy in the store who came up and recognized my greatness, was essentially that you need to go and make money and invest that in the things that you have conviction in. Let's say you have conviction in Zcash because you think it's the next Bitcoin. It's better than Bitcoin. Cool. Develop your thesis, go invest in it. But if you're just trading it because you think you're going to get a 50% swing to the upside, most of the time you're going to lose money. And so rather than trying to make your income off of trading, go make your income doing something else and then invest in those things that you have conviction in. This is how millions and billions of dollars are made. Entrepreneurs that go and build businesses spend years because they had conviction in a given market and a given play that they envision playing out over the long term. That's the only way to make money. If you're out of here trading in and out because you want to make money, you're looking for the next pick, which, turn notifications on if you want the next pick because I got that hotness. But if that's what you're spending all of your time doing, you are a loser, you're going to lose, and you're making the worst decision of your entire life. You're gonna end up spending years of your time where maybe your money's going up like this. You have a huge win, and it goes up, and then it comes down because you start over trading. You get chopped when the market's going sideways. You think that you're a genius all of a sudden because you made one good trade and that you can easily do that again. That's not the way that things work. And any sort of content, any sort of influencer who's telling you as much is lying to your face. They have a different agenda. They are trying to sell you something. Now, don't get me wrong. A portion of my portfolio is allocated to trading. Something like 5%, 10% max. And the reason for that is, A, I like having fun. B, sometimes you do actually end up making money. In the case of Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example, I invested $2,000 and that turned into $2 million. That is a life-changing situation, but it's not an everyday situation. And if I had operated off the belief that I was going to do that over and over, I would be completely broke because I would have spent all of my money on an expensive apartment, on a nice car, on everything else, and I wouldn't have a job. I work for a living. I generate a salary. I take that salary and I invest it in the things that I actually have conviction in. If you are not operating on that basis, even in crypto, which is a category that I think has a ton of long-term upside, and when I say crypto, I'm including Bitcoin. I know all the Bitcoiners will hate me on that. If you're not following that path, you're making the wrong decision. I just had to come on and say that. I'm going to be back with more crypto news. Frankly, with the current market action, I'm gonna have to beg more people for money, for a burrito, for a coffee, for literally anything. Hopefully you can help me out if I'm being completely honest, because it's quite difficult seeing my portfolio drop by hundreds of thousands of dollars. But If you're not following this method, you're going to lose. I'll be back with